Welcome Diecast fans to the DSPN report. I'm Tom Spanners Watson.
And I'm Frank the Guru Gibbs.
Let's crack into it. Alright, first up we have a call for builders to enter the Canyon Outlaws competition. Head over to chaoscanyon.online forum for details.
Now in drag racing we're going to kick off with Mr. Moms Racing. They did just an epic series. There is a bunch of races over on their channel. These are the super fast Matchbox cars and there are some beauties in there. Definitely worth checking those races out.
Then Redline Derby Racing kicked off their channel finally after setting up their track. Now to begin with, it was his daughter Penny with her Penny Races racing the candy cars. So all of the cars had a candy theme or sponsor to them. And then it was time for the Redline Rumble on the new track, a massive 22 car elimination. Best of 3 challenge, well worth a watch.
Then Red Pill Racing did a Jada tournament. So this is just a straight up rip and roll. There was no modifications in here, but just again, good clean drag racing.
Then Cleveland City Diecast had a one and done series. And this particular one here, man, look how fast those cars are going. They are just blazing down the track. But I love that he plays a nice slow-mo so you can actually see what happened. And that Charger absolutely smoked the Chevy.
And Diecast Draggor was running another series on his open track. And check out the way Racing Jason here just completely blocks the track but still manages to take out the win in his first race. It was just some incredible driving by the young man, spinning around and then taking the win backwards.
And then moving over to Michael's Diecast Garage, he was running a bunch of vans and he's got 2 tracks there as well. So there's the longer one that you just saw and then a slightly shorter one doing timed runs on those.
And then over at Wallside Diecast Racing, they did this rookie showdown. So people had sent these cars in from all over the place and it was really interesting to watch. And this rubbish truck, you just wouldn't expect it to do any good against the Lambo. And you see the Lambo there just disappearing down into the blocks, but check this out. The rubbish truck handles that death drop beautifully and takes out the win.
And finally for drag racing tonight, Summers Raceway continued on with their 5-pack challenge. So this was again a rip and roll type race. Short drag races, cars straight out of the packet.
Moving into the tournaments, Jackson Pass Speedway continued on with their Cavalcade of Calamity, and this is just an awesome set of racing. Similar to the DIRS, these guys are racing 4 at a time and picking up points, but this race here was absolutely brutal. Check this out. First guy goes off, nails the guy in yellow, he gets bashed onto the track, then the Camaro comes through, runs him over, knocks him flying, and if that's not enough, the third place guy comes through and then parks right on him.
Man, that was rough. Alright, Trax Racing had their double lane curves, so this is one of our favourites because this sort of thing happens where that challenger just leapt from the inside to the outside and takes the win.
Then Live Young Diecast had their rally cars racing on their main track and just some carnage there. Lots of fun to watch.
And finally it was time for the Miatas at the Crest for Transport Racing. So this was just one of the round 1 group 1 races. This car out in front, so he was pairing the fastest with the slowest, and this dude was so confident that he was going to blitz him. He just mucked around. He was like spinning, bashing off every wall he could find, and he still takes out the win. So I guess his confidence was well based.
Then we move over to Rust Belt Racing. Now there's 2 sets of races that have happened in the last couple of weeks. Obviously we missed last week's, so we just wanted to catch up. This was from the kids race and just a super close finish with a brilliant last minute overtake there. And then just this week was the championship race, and again on the same track, lots of thrills and spills here.
Nines Diecast continued on with their 9-pack tournament, running 3 cars at a time. Few crashes, a few spills, but some very tight racing overall.
Now, Indiana Diecast Racing had a new series. This was the final, so there are other races you can go back and have a look at, but there's been some track changes. We've shown their track in the DSPN a number of times before, but you can see the change, but we still got carnage with people going off the track, and I just love this last minute overtake. So these upgrades are really cool, and some new camera angles, which is also nice. You see that dude falling off, but look at his overtake. Absolutely beautiful bit of driving there.
Then Alamo City Diecast Racing in the Circuit of Mayhem, and it is true mayhem on this course. I mean, watch this. So the dude out in front comes through, they head down through the big corkscrew here, and then he decides to take a shortcut. But as you can see, there is quite a substantial amount of track that he's actually completely missed out there and lost.
And finally, Hawkeye Hollow Diecast was running a great series, so that was the roller toaster in that first one, over just blitzing the competition, and there the Cyclone getting caught up.
Now in street racing, we finally got to kick off the Canyon Outlaws. So this is a top 10 list race that goes every week. So there are list races, but we also have some grudge matches like this one. Now this car out in front is from Sharon Tarshish of Custom Diecast channel with suspension, and I know a lot of people have wanted to see that. And then here we've got our very own Frank the Guru Gibbs in that green 8-crate custom ute there, absolutely nailing the competition, and Mike Mays from RTR going off track there.
Now speaking of going off track, 3D Botmaker had some spectacular crashes, and again, I don't know what it was in the last couple of weeks, but spectators have just been getting nailed left, right and centre in a number of tracks. And then here, this Golf gets nailed again and just goes flying. But this bit of stunt driving here was phenomenal. Look how close this is. That was bumper to bumper. It was brilliant.
Then the hot car track continued on with the Road Warriors series. So we've missed 2 weeks, so we're just going to do a quick update on 2 of the races here. See this last minute overtake, I don't know what he was doing, pulling that big 360 too early. And then this beast here, out in front, this is the one with real riders, and it's doing really well. It's going to be interesting to see if anyone else tries that.
And then Mike Mays with his grudge fests, which have been really cool, but we love this one, because watch this. Look at that Audi, look at the air he gets going in reverse, and yet the Volvo's like wah wah.
DRC Racing are down to their quarterfinals. So again, there was been 2 races that we've missed, so this week we just wanted to cover off a bit of both of them with that F100 and the Maverick, and then the VW versus the Honda City. Now this race here was tight. They swapped positions a couple of times, and then right at the end, just both bailing out. It was very cool.
War on I-4 had some more grudge matches of his own on the big track. This time it wasn't just a one and done, it was a best of 3, but look at this race here. So 2 Mustangs, the green Mustang well out ahead, but then the yellow Mustang pulls them back in beautifully right in that last straight.
Then we head over to Mac Mountain and Low Country's Diecast, and they're live racing. And you see here this dude going completely off track on that last straight right before the finish, and here some really tight racing right to the end. Lots of good racing there if you want to check that out.
And Poverty Hollow, this is a great little track, lots of twists and turns, nice little corkscrew and a couple of switchbacks and some good fast racing there.
Now there's a lot of special events on at the moment. Obviously it was Halloween just recently, but we're going to kick off with 3D Botmaker. He did a Minecraft mob race, so he set up this track specifically to do this Minecraft race, and I gotta say, hats off to you, dude. That track is awesome. I can't imagine the patience it took to put that together. But a one-off series, have a look at that one.
And I've got to say, huge shout out to Flat Rabbit for this piece of B-movie brilliance. In the spirit of Halloween, they did not only racing, but they did like a full-on B-movie along with it. But we wanted to highlight this race here. Those regular viewers will notice that the Flat Rabbit track has changed configuration. They've leapt through a building. They've still got the jump at the end, and check this overtake out. It's absolutely stunning. What a leap and what a way to take a win.
And then Trax Racing did a zombie run. So with that one, they had to come around the curve and then hit the zombie wall. And if the zombie was still standing, you were bitten. A lot of fun there.
Back to Live Young Diecast, they had Halloween on the highway. So this was just hot rods. And we quite like this race here just because of the total carnage. This car's getting flipped off the track everywhere. And then look at this, the mod rod pulls right up and backs away. Luckily for him, he got clipped by another car, pushed him forward.
Then Beaverworx, moving away from the Halloween theme, did a presidential prediction race. So it was red versus blue. There was as much carnage on the track as there is in the election at the moment, but very entertaining to watch. And again, another spectator gets involved here. This time, thankfully, it wasn't the cars hitting him. I don't know what happened. He just decided to get closer to the action and threw himself off the cliff by the look of it. Luckily, he wasn't run over.
And then Big Poppy continued on with the Fat Track free-for-all. So he was down to the finals of this part of the competition in the Diecast Olympics. And some really good racing there with not many events left to go.
Then it's time for some love, peace and hair grease with Skorpio Love Smith. Now he'd had some cool tournaments going on. It was imports versus Ferraris in a couple of head-to-head battles. I don't know why this Ferrari is going so slow, I guess to prove a point. But then he also did Brian's car versus a bunch of police cars. And if you have a look at that first corner, you'll see Brian's car almost goes completely off track. And then he did this really cool switch over with a big bus jump right at the end. It was just carnage. I love it.
And speaking of carnage, Checkered Flag Contention did a really cool race with some Halloween-based cars, and they had these eyeballs on the track, which was really interesting. I've got to say, I've never seen eyeballs on a track before.
We wanted to highlight Meal Ticket Raceway. We've shown these guys before, but they've had a major track upgrade, and look how big this monster is. It was big before, but I reckon they've done it half again. It just seems to go on and on and on. It's just a huge track, but lots of excitement.
And then Stunt of the Week goes to Mike Mays here for leaping off track, bouncing off the sign and the trees, back onto the track, and he actually won this particular race thanks to Philip the Tanker coming down and smashing into him.
Alright, that is enough for this week. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Remember to head over to redlinederby.com for all of your racing information. Check out the latest Diecast Racing report, and if you're a modified car builder and you want to be one of the Canyon Outlaws, have a look at our forum, chaoscanyon.online. Check out the driver call for all the information. I'm Tom Spanners Watson, he's Frank the Guru Gibbs. We'll see you next time.